This is the Criterion Creeps podcast, and tonight we're talking about Le Cercle Rouge from 1970, directed by Jean-Pierre Melville. The tagline for this film, RJ, no place to hide, nowhere to run.
Is that true?
When French criminal Corey gets released from prison, he resolves to never return. He is quickly pulled back into the underworld, however, after a chance encounter with an escaped murderer Vogel. Along with former policeman and current alcoholic Jansen, they plot an intricate jewel heist. All the while, quirky police commissioner Matai, who was the man to lose custody of Vogel, is determined to find him.
That sounds good.
So this is a movie I saw before, one other time. I was kind of... what was the reason? My friend Corey, actually, fittingly enough, he was watching these Melville movies. He was wanting to watch, those Les Samurais and these Bob Le Flambeurs and such. And he was picking these Criterions up before they started going out of print. And now you can't find the Blu-ray of this movie at all without paying a fortune. So that's always fun. That's good. But that's what the Criterion channel's for, right, RJ?
Of course. And I did my due diligence and checked like a couple weeks ago just to make sure that it was on here so that when the episode came up, I'd be like, not a problem. I'll just pop on my costly subscription to the Criterion channel and I'll give it a whirl.
Well, it's, for me, when I was looking at this stuff, probably a couple months ago, I remember scanning through the movies that I didn't own on DVD, where I have already previously directly supported the Criterion Collection. And now it's like, well, there's a couple of gaps. Like next week, La Strada is one of those. And I'm like, oh, I've got to make sure I've got my bases covered. And, but I remember seeing, Le Cercle Rouge. Oh, I'm glad it's on there. That's great because it's out of print. And then, lo and behold, come the weekend, you go to look it up and it's not there.
What do you think happened, Jer?
Who knows? I mean, they cycle these things through. They can't keep them up indefinitely. It's probably, I believe it's probably Studio Canal has the rights. But, you know, it's not conducive to podcasting, let me tell you.
Especially not when it's the only thing you need.
So, alternative means. It's a good thing I know someone who has the Blu-ray, right?
Of course. Like you do.
I do.
Yeah, like you do. And then you were kind enough to lend that to me also.
Absolutely. So we can be here for you, the fans.
Of course.
So this movie opens up with this opening text. Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, drew a circle with a piece of red chalk and said, "When men, even unknowingly, are to meet one day, whatever may befall each, whatever their diverging paths, on the said day, they will inevitably come together in the red circle," or podcast. So apparently Melville made that up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It seemed like it was a thing.
Yeah, apparently it's like the epitaph for Le Samurai has the same thing, and it's like, he just made it up.
He just likes to have fun.
Makes it sound real classy.
That sounds cool. I liked the sound of it when it was on.
It sounds pretty cool. I mean, this Red Circle movie, which of course, I mean, getting this out of the way. So this is my first rewatch. I hadn't seen it for a while, and the first time I watched it, I thought it was good. I don't love the story or anything like that, but I just I remember actually my review was, man, this is like the best looking heist movie around. And watching this movie again, I'm like, this movie still looks pretty fucking amazing.
Sure does.
So, and I'm not sure. I'm glad that you are agreeing with me on that, because I wondered, is this my color blindness kicking in, where this movie that's I've seen some people throw out there in the hate section we'll get to as drab, and I go, what? And then I'm like, well, is this because I'm a big sucker for blue, and it uses obviously red shows up sporadically, and the movie almost kind of feels at times like this has such a controlled palette, like a black and white movie that's in full color and not in the Roma kind of way. But yeah, so I mean, for me, this movie primarily is just like a feast for the eyes. It looks great, and I probably, from the Melvilles I've watched, I really do like when he's working with color.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, so rewatching this movie, it's a heist. It's another heist. I'm not keeping track of these heist movies so far, but we've
There's
had
been a few.
that Madonna Street. We've had Rafifi, that Bob Le Flamme Bleu.
Mm-hmm.
Those come to mind.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, and now we have the Cercle Rouge.
Mm-hmm.
But this movie is in no hurry to get to the heist. In
No,
fact,
not really.
you don't even know what the whole thing of this movie is. It opens up, and it's like I actually am kind of embarrassed to say I'm kind of pulling an RJ here, where I didn't like. I was kind of like watching, and there's the bit where Matai is taking Vogel on the train, and they're rushing on the train. Rushing in their car to get to the train. They run a red light, and they get him on the train. And I was like thinking, like, oh, that's Alan Delone, and and he's being escorted, and he's going to sleep, and it's like a flashback to when he has a mustache. But shortly after, I go, oh, that's a different man. That's another like dark-haired man. Now that I realize that this is all happening at the same time. And this is for a movie I've seen before, and it just didn't make that much of an impact, I guess, as far as like the story structure goes, because I thought this was like a thing where it was going back and forth in time. But I think that's also like there's a real looseness to the editing that I don't know. Do you think that's fair? Did you feel that was like a thing happening, or
I think I'm on board with you. Like a looseness. I think that's a good way to describe it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not. There's no cues that are definitely telling you a direct way of how the story's like the narrative or the timeline of the story playing out. It's just kind of like, oh, there's these scenes and there's these two guys that have nothing to do with one another that like maybe it's like a flashback because there's like that way of that lingering in on a man falling asleep. It to me is like code for like, how did I get to be here? That's like that's what I was thinking for like the first maybe like 10 minutes of the movie, but it straightens itself out, and then you start kind of going, oh, okay. So this Alan Delone, he's our he's the French star. He's in a whole bunch of these Melville movies and a bunch of other stuff with Charles Bronson at one point. He's a cool looking cat rocking that RJ mustache.
Ooh, yeah, he definitely seemed like the French Charles Bronson of sorts.
Much prettier though. He's I don't know.
Vogue Bronson?
What's a sexy fish?
As
opposed to a catfish.
Trout?
Trout.
A trout fish?
A lithe. He's like a dolphin? That's like a mammal, I suppose.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
What about...
Or how we call him the stingray?
The stingray? I'm fine with that.
I mean, they're weird fucking looking fishes too, but
they're a little suspicious.
They're pretty cool. Sure. Pretty cool. So anyway, Alan Delone, he's getting out of jail. There's this whole thing with the jail guard who's like feeding him this whole thing. Hey, you're getting out early, and there's like a heist we want you to go on, and he's like, I don't want anything to do with that. But and that's the heist that he eventually does go on, right or no?
I don't know. Yeah, see, I was a little confused by that too.
Yeah,
some of the setup's a little fuzzy.
Right, but this doesn't even feel like a movie that's really about the setup. So when he's getting released, he's getting all his possessions back that they take when you go into jail, and there's these photos of this lady of his woman, and he doesn't even want to keep them. He like leaves them behind, and the guards are like, hey, you're taking these with you, dude. And he pays a visit immediately upon getting released to, I guess, like the Mr. Big, the boss, who's now banging his lady.
Yeah, that's one way that I think you could describe it.
Yeah, he's taking his girl, and if you can keep the girl, but I'm going to take a nice fat stack of cash in this envelope here, and your gun, because you know funny stuff. And he's on his way. And he goes and plays a little bit of pool with some red chalk on his pool cue, and a couple of goons from the guy he just ripped off show up to retrieve his money and gun. And probably one of the most shocking moments, like, I don't know, in a movie that we've watched in a long time, where he's fighting these two guys pretty effortlessly, and the one guy draws his gun and goes to fire, and Delone hits his gun kind of, and then the gun goes off and the bullet just hits the other guy in the head, and they cut away to this close up of like the bullet just going in, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, I was that caught me off guard quite a bit. I was like, whoa.
It's like that's some real Jason Statham action right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was pleasantly surprised by that.
So that's like one of the plots. The other plot is Vogel, who's being taken away by Matai, the police officer. Vogel just goes flying out a window out of a moving train. Just like feet first. and off and running he goes. And so he's, running through the forest. The police and the dogs are in hot pursuit. We get a little bit of hot underpants action as he follows those hot Bear Grylls tips about like, if you have to cross a river, just take off all your clothes, bundle them up above your head, get across the lake, and dress on the other side, because otherwise you'll get hypothermia. That's just basic survival skills, RJ.
That is. I really liked his moves there too, because I was like, what's he doing here? And then I saw him throw, and I was like, oh yeah, I liked what you're doing here, buddy. I like it.
Like star-crossed lovers, Corey and Vogel cross each other's paths. Corey buys a new car. He's just on his way, but he's got this gun. He can't really be stopped with this gun because now he's a convict. They probably frown upon like possession of handguns in that country of France, unlike others. And there's police checks everywhere because they're looking for this Vogel guy. Corey goes to get himself something to eat. He realizes when he's leaving that there's some guy in his trunk, and that's Vogel who's got in there somehow. And eventually they find themselves out in a field, and they negotiate, realizing, hey, we're both dirtbags. You got a gun and some money. Like we could be pals.
He said, you got a gun. I need a gun.
Yeah. And then
why don't we put these together
and start a podcast?
Oh.
So now they got this idea. Oh yeah. Then some more goons show up, and Vogel kills them, just dead, murders them out in the middle of the woods. That's fun. And so now they're going to plot a heist. They know a guy who is a former police sniper, super cop, I guess, and who is just now hitting that bottle hard, real Baylog style. And,
what?
And we get like this hallucination of him like in his room, and like various like giant, like some real fake ass giant spiders come bounding at him, and then a bunch of lizards get unleashed. And but he's like, oh, he gets a phone call, and then he's like, all right, I got to get straight. I got to pull this heist off, do it properly, and no more booze. So we get to see how a bullet's made, a fancy bullet.
Well, what kind of bullet, Jarrett? What is it used for?
For disarming a alarm system.
Oh, how would they do that though?
With a gun.
True.
So something or other. So anyway, so they get the heist. They make their plan, and then there's like a big chunk of this movie for like 30 minutes that is essentially a dialogue-free heist. And these guys look so cool. They look like they do. Real fucking classy gentlemen. Wearing like velvet masks with eye holes, wearing their hats, and they go to work.
Yeah, they just do it. Like I like their masks. They kind of look like just like a sheet. It's very nice. It's not like fitted to the face, which I think is probably the better way to do it.
That's right.
Jared. And then our boy shoots a little ball right into a hole in the wall, and the security goes down.
And they take all those jewels.
Yeah, they take them all, and he got it first shot too, Jarrett.
Yep.
There wasn't any suspense there on a second or third. It was just, no, this guy nails it.
And I believe it's is it before or after he takes that little snoot, that little deep breath of his flask, that he's not going to let himself drink, but he's just going to reward himself with that's enough.
Yeah, well, the drinks come later.
That's right.
Jared?
Hey, when there's work to be done, you just gotta get in there.
Just gotta work.
And so, of course, the movie kind of goes into down this path that I've always wondered about when it comes with the heist movie. It's like, sure, you steal all those jewels, but what do you do with those jewels after you've got them? They could be worth like whatever $28 million, but at the end of the day, they're worthless because they just compromise you. You got to carry them around everywhere, and now you got to find a fence that is willing to take the heat and take these things off your hands and pay you cash money, they're only going to give you a fraction of what they're actually worth retail or whatever they're appraised at, because they have to hand them off and sell them to people who are willing to buy like stuff that probably is documented in some way, and then one day it will be traced back to them in theory. So we get a scene where they go to a fence, and the fence is like, can't do it. But then you also find out that our Mr. Big Guy, who he ripped off all those weeks ago, he's still there, and he's like, don't make it easy for this piece of shit. And all while this is going on too, we also have Matai, the police detective, who he wants Vogel. He's trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Where are these dead bodies? What's the happening? He's shaking down a local nightclub owner who's also was it Santi? And he wants him to give him he wants him to give up that information. So we have all that whole element, some strange showgirl routines in this real ritzy, odd little club. And eventually it all comes back to that club. Everything starts tightening up. All these things that seem kind of like not tying into anything in particular. It's all there now. All those strands. Matai is the contact, and there's gonna be a handoff, but it doesn't pay to commit those crimes. Oh, another heist movie, and the very similar ending is Band of Outsiders.
Yes, it is. That's where you get a few things like, it's kind of, what does he say? He's like, hey asshole, but that's also in Bob LaFlambla. A lot of like, hey asshole endings in these kinds of movies. It seems like sometimes they literally say it, and sometimes it's just implied.
That's right.
What's your hey asshole moment?
Hey asshole.
Hey asshole.
It's like Danny DeVito in Goldmember.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So yeah, I don't love this movie or anything like that. Again, watching it again, it's a heist, and I don't know if I'm really actually that big a fan of heist movies, but this is definitely the most beautiful one that I've seen. It looks incredible, beautifully photographed. There's a lot of I find it really easy to watch. The movie's 2 hours and 20 minutes, so it's not a cheap little short little film noir by any means. But I mean, a lot of this movie though sets up pretty well the entire decade of the 70s in a lot of ways. The movie's, I think it's set in Marseille, which of course is also where French Connection, a lot of the action in that movie happens. And this movie feels like the precursor to so much of 70s cinema. Like this slower paced, character driven crime stories with like rough kind of scummy characters that are just trying to make it through the day. Very procedural. It reminds me a lot of Day of the Jackal. So yeah, I mean, like there's this movie feels like the beginning of like everything I love of the 70s, but just like the story just doesn't connect with me as strongly as I wish it would. But like on a technical level, filmmaking wise, I think the movie is like pretty cool. But RJ, what do you think of this Red Circle?
Which one? You see what I did there, Jer? That's some of that TD we were talking about earlier in the preamble. YouTube only people won't know about that Red Circle. Know what I mean, Jer? I'm pretty much like right in line with you. I think it looks good. I don't know if I'd say I can't remember how good like Rafifi looked and like stuff like that. So I can't even remember now to compare them. But this one looks really good.
Well, that's also a different director.
No, I know.
But I thought
because I think heist movies.
Yes, for heist movies. Yeah. So yeah, I know it in my mind's eye. These movies like Rafifi feels like a Jean-Pierre Melville movie, but that's Jules Dassin.
Jules Dassin, that guy?
Dassin or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
But no, yeah, you're right. It does look it looks great. Like I like some of the just like the big wide shots. Like I sent you a couple. I like the one like over the pool table. That one's cool. Or just people in fields, like search teams out in fields. Yeah, I think that looks very, very slick.
Yeah, when all the police are walking ahead with the dogs in front of them in that wood. Yeah, the movie like looks great.
Yeah, so it all looks very good, and I actually, believe it or not, I'm on board with this slow build up to the heist,
Yeah.
which people probably maybe would have thought I wouldn't be, but I like it quite a bit, and I also like that a lot of the build up stuff. There's no music. It's just
Yep.
quiet. It's just quiet build. Like I said, I could see that driving some people crazy, but I was on board with it. I was like, ooh, this is cool. I like this. And even though it's like a long movie, like it definitely takes its time, like you said. I didn't feel like bogged down by
No,
it
me,
or anything
yeah.
like that. I think like halfway through, I paused it and I went upstairs and made a sandwich, and then
Mhm.
I came back and I ate it. But
Just as Melville intended.
just as watching it on like a Game Boy Advance, just like Melville intended. No, yeah, I never felt like the runtime was like a drag or the movie was long or boring or anything like that. So I was like, cool. I
Cool.
cool. Well, that's usually something that usually gets me. I too was confused at some of the setup at first, like where the characters are like, here's this guy and he's doing this thing, and there's this guy, and then they're gonna cross, and then because I was kind of like, huh. It's like, is that it, or is there more, or what isn't there? I don't know. I kind of like you. I got to a point where I was like, probably doesn't matter, and I just moved on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just moved on, Jared.
It's
I was
more
like,
of a. It's always more of an issue when you have to recap these things.
yeah, exactly. When you're watching it, you're like, wow, whatever. I don't need to worry too much about those fine details. So yeah, what was I gonna say? Yeah, I was surprised by the amount of like killing in this thing. Just because it's not usually what we have in these Criterion films. So when people started getting like shot in the head and stuff, I was like, whoa, what's going on here? So that was cool. The heist itself is neat. Like I said, I like their masks. I like their little gun and stuff. And I do like the kind of the blowout aftermath where the fencing guy is just like, nah. He's like, it's too hot. He's like, I don't want to worry about it right now. And then you see the ticking bomb on screen that the characters can't see, Jarrett. Isn't that what Hitchcock always said? Where you see the like him meeting with the detective guy, but he doesn't know, and you're like, whoa. And then yeah, it has a real hey asshole kind of ending, and you're like, nice.
It's the red
Nice.
circle.
It is a red circle, Jarrett. It is literally a red circle.
Literally.
So yeah, I liked it quite a bit too. Like kind of like you, I don't think it's doesn't blow any dicks off or nothing like that, but I do think it's good. It's a good show. Pretty good show. Jer. Pretty good show. I don't even know, I'm kind of at a loss of what else to say. I like Underwear Man. He's cool. I like French Charles Bronson, the Stingray. He's cool. The drunk scene is pretty wild. Just seeing spiders and lizards and stuff.
Yeah, it's
That guy must have been really drunk, Jared.
Yeah.
I've never hallucinated on good old alcohol.
Yeah, I mean that's usually. I mean, I guess like when you maybe that's the DTs though, maybe.
Oh,
where he's hallucinating that part.
It's possible. It's possible, my man.
Well, so yeah, like I would say too, like the guy who plays Vogel, Jean-Marie Volante, he's in a lot of spaghetti westerns and other Italian movies. He's like in the A Fistful of Dollars, for a Few Dollars More, in a future creep that I think is an all-time banger, Investigation of a Citizen Above Suspicion. He's the main character in that, and A Bullet for the General, Face to Face. Whole lot of stuff. Oh, there's in this movie too I haven't watched yet. The World War I movie, Many Wars Ago from 1970. Anyway,
What's that one about?
It's Italian World War I, which is like probably one of the least covered things in film I can think of.
Oh, okay.
And a movie called Operation Ogre.
Operation Dumbo Drop?
Not quite.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds cool. I like all that stuff. But
Good.
yeah, no, it's I liked it. It was a good show. Like I said, it didn't feel like a 2.5 hour movie, so that's good. Always a plus.
Oh, look at that. Alan Delon. We'll see him again, but it'll be in the form of Antione.
Antione. Not Maglione, Antione.
Oh, he's also in Purple Noon, which is another creep one day. Oh, he's in The Leopard. Oh, we've got lots of Stingray to go.
That's cool. I liked him. He was good. He was good, Jarrett. There's something weird he did, though. Like, with his body.
Whoa.
I don't remember now.
Hey, you know this movie's got the same cinematographer as The 400 Blows?
Does it?
No.
I don't like it anymore.
Henri Dakai?
Jokes.
Dakay?
What else can you tell me about this movie, Jarrett?
I can tell you about who hates this movie.
Oh, okay. Sure.
You ready for this?
I guess. Whatever.
All right. So, first up, we have 1.5 star from Lance, who writes, "All men are guilty."
What do you think he means by that, Jarrett?
Well, I guess it's like a reference to the movie, suggesting that Lance has actually watched the movie. Because there's like the whole running theme is there's the one guy from Internal Affairs who's kind of nosing around as Matai's doing things, and he makes these comments about like, oh, they're all guilty. He's like, well, he's not that bad. He's like, nah, they're all bad.
I think Lance is all bad. Some 5-star films include The Human Centipede 2, Terrifier, one of your favorite films, Jarrett. And then, like, I don't know, just Savo, 5 stars. Lots of, like, kids' shorts, like Peppa Pig and the spoon fork thing from Toy Story.
Oh.
But they have, like, the majority of their ratings are half stars. Like, high majority.
Okay.
So they just rate everything a half a star. Like, Low with Johnny Depp, half a star. Who would have thought? Not me. Not me.
We've got Griffin Laking.
Laking?
1.5 star. This might be one of the worst looking films I've ever seen. The colors are drab. The overexposed lighting in every indoor shot is blinding. Every outdoor shot looks like it was shot on home video. There's no consistency in picture quality even between shots in the same scene. There are obvious mistakes that were awkwardly cut out instead of being reshot. On top of all of this, the story is just really bland. Fortunately, in the second half, some of these issues are slightly improved upon, and there's a couple decent sets, but when the film looks like hot garbage, there's only so much that's going to help.
I don't really agree with him. I don't think the movie looks like garbage at all.
Really?
5-star films include Passion of Joan of Arc, and then lots of, like, I don't know what any of this stuff is. Hanagatami. Tekken King Crete.
Yep.
Yeah. Noriko's Dinner Table. Those are the 5-star films.
A lot of Japanese stuff in there.
Only 3 half-star films, which include I Am Keiko from 1997, 1917 from last year, and The Passion of the Christ from Mel Gibson.
Huh.
So strange, to say the least.
No bio or anything for Griffin, huh?
Their bio says sup.
Cool.
They just gave The Lighthouse 3 stars, though, so that's bad.
Lucas Preti, 1.5 star. Louis C.K. said every time he watches Tomorrow Night, his directorial debut, he wished he had cut off the shots of actors dialing their phones. Go on already. Kieslowski wanted a brand of sugar cube that would soak in precisely 5 seconds for that scene in blue. I know the audience can take 5 seconds, but not 7 or 10. Melville's vision is his vision, and that's that. But no one can deny it feels like pointless boredom sometimes. Maybe I should watch it again when I'm more mature. No, you know what? Fuck Jean-Pierre Melville.
I find it funny that the person says it's like Melville's vision is his own. No one can fight that. It's like, no shit. It's like... He made the movie.
The dude's dead.
He's dead. Like, of course no one can fight that. All these 5-star movies are things you'd expect, like Citizen Kane, All About Eve, There Will Be Blood, Jarrett, Buster Scruggs, apparently, 3 Billboards out of Ebbing, Missouri, apparently. Only one half-star film for Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance, which I think you and me both agree is a good show. Very good show, for that matter. Very good show. Very good show.
Here's a lengthy one. David Punch.
Okay.
2 stars. Between this and Le Samurai, I think it's safe to say that Melville prefers extremely laconic characters over any with depth, motivation, or just any emotional expression at all. It doesn't matter if you can't remember all the characters here because they're effectively all the same. There's nothing special about Le Cercle Rouge that hasn't been done before. These characters are generic imitations of the kind of hard-boiled criminals the French loved watching in American film noirs, without any nuance or traits to allow you to be invested in what happens to them. It's as if the one thing you took away from these classic films is that all the characters are hardened and emotionless, but didn't manage to see what made them so thick-skinned and why they safeguard their emotions. The pacing of this film is brutal, 2 hours and 20 minutes long, with the actual heist plot of the film taking more than an hour to actually begin. Every scene takes far too long to communicate its point, and without moments of character development, any time spent on not focused on moving the plot forward is just wasted. Then there's the actual plot of the film, a jewelry heist. It's been done to death. And Le Cercle Rouge again offers nothing new to entice the viewer. The heist itself is done mostly in complete silence, which plays out like a less than admirable attempt at homaging the brilliant sequence from Rafifi. I don't think the film actually understands what makes a good heist sequence because little to nothing is established before the heist takes place. All the intricacies of casing the building, studying maps, testing equipment, and identifying the obstacles are all missing from this film. All those things I don't need in my movies. The heist is almost entirely unenjoyable to watch because you don't understand what the plan is or what could possibly go wrong. And in the end, nothing really does go wrong, so why even show the heist? Le Cercle Rouge feels like someone's vague idea of a heist film bloated by an aggravatingly long runtime with nothing of interest to keep you hooked. Well, that's exactly why you make movies. You just make things that no one's interested in. That's how all my movies are.
That's how we make our podcast.
Exactly.
Oh, are you done?
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say some of the stuff that David Punch was talking about I find in direct conflict with some of their favorite movies. A lot of their 5 stars are just like Criterion movies, and I think we've maybe come across this person before. But other 5-star films include things like Die Hard, All That Jazz, which is quickly becoming a controversial pick on this thing, Jarrett. Very controversial. Rafifi, even though they said that heist movies are played out.
No, but he loves the brilliant sequence from Rafifi.
I see. Night of the Hunter, Chicago, the musical.
Oof.
Jarrett, Chicago. Let's see some half-star films here if we can find out what movie they were on. Half stars to Thelma and Louise, The Hurricane, 7 Psychopaths. See, this all sounds familiar. Man, what did they Dress to Kill, 1 star, Brick, 1 star, Punch Drunk Love, 1 star, Quick and the Dead, 1 star.
Whoa.
Wake the Dog, 1 star.
Oh, wow.
See, we've had this guy like recently, but what for?
I have no idea.
Oh, they gave The Blob 1.5 stars. Could have been that.
Like the remake?
No, the original, The Blob.
Oh, I don't care about that so much. But Punch
could have
Drunk
been that
Love.
though. Yeah, I know. Come on. They gave Fitzcarraldo 1.5 stars. Bone Tomahawk 1.5 stars. Jesus Christ Superstar 1.5 stars. Death Becomes Her. Any Given Sunday. The Creeps approved favorite film by both of us, not just Jarrett.
Wait.
Come
what?
on. Come on. Yeah, this is like a Criterion guy. So I don't know. I feel like we've crossed them before, but who knows?
And we've crossed them again.
And we might. Maybe David Punch needs a taste of his own medicine.
Ooh.
And this is character I play for a podcast, and in no way did I threaten physically or mentally any of the people I talked about.
Sounds like you did.
No, that statement cleans me of all things, Jarrett. I am now clean of all things, Jarrett. Yep.
How about those dance numbers in the movie?
Oh, those things were awesome, actually.
Yeah,
it kind of came out of nowhere, and it was like,
well, it's like the one is like weird because there's like the one group of women kind of look like the girl.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, which is like, is there a reason to that? Is it just a look of the time that it's trying to emulate? Because it's a stylized. It's not like, I don't know if it's particularly 1970s, but there's like kind of like a pastiche, a little bit of a 50s and 60s sort of cinema references in the movie. Maybe
A pastiche, you say?
Yeah. You like those pastiches.
I
It goes
think
good with crackers.
I'm one of the only pastiche guys out there. I'm a real pastiche guy, Jared.
No.
If you know what I mean.
Do you look at this Alan Delone guy on his Letterboxd?
Alan Delone?
Yeah.
No, where's he at?
He's the lead of the movie.
Oh, let me go with Cercle Rouge. Alan Delone. Yeah, I see him.
Look at that.
Look at him.
Look at that gaze.
Oh, Spirits of the Dead, eh?
Yep.
Oh, what else is he in here?
I think he's in the Truffaut one, but I could be wrong.
It could be.
I
won't be able to tell you if you are or not.
Yeah.
I'll never know. I'll never, ever know. Cool.
Any final thoughts?
Nah, man. It's I don't think I said very much tonight, but it's good. It's a good show. Good little show there.
Well,
bro.
After the break, we try to fence the jewels, but the cops are onto us. And now we're dead.
Huh.
In our Perfect Red podcast.
Are we red? Are we in the red state?
Directed by Kevin Smith.
Oh, yeah.
The movie's horrible.
Or